You want to be starting something.
There you
got
go.
to be starting something.
There
you want to
you
be
go.
starting something. Got to be starting something.
That's all I needed, man. That's it. That's the price of admission. As simple as that. I know it's a fucked up kind of thing, man, but it's just
Just to loosen up, right?
That's a
all it
lead
is.
singer, right?
That's the lead singer.
I love it.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having us.
Like I said off mic just before we got started, I haven't had a full house in a while, right? Normally, sometimes I have a fourth here too as well.
Oh,
Nice.
sick.
But it makes for a good conversation.
Yeah,
Thanks for
100%.
I hear sometimes a little bit from the viewers that it's hard to follow who's who, and I was like, then just watch the show. Then you could follow it really long.
Yeah.
Like it's simple at that point. I guess listening, hear four voices, it's a little more tricky to do that.
So I think people are working. They have it in their earbuds.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the greatest compliment. At first I used to do the shows an hour long, 30 minutes each way for the travels, and it was working. But then all of a sudden the shows were getting better and better, so they were like they wanted more content. So I made the shows 90 minutes. So then it became like all day long. I listened to 3-4 shows.
Oh, wow.
And then my work day's done. I made money and I learned a few things, had a few laughs. Right? So,
Yeah.
And I think that's a sweet spot too, to have like a real conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get it. It's nice that a lot of people say that they do other construction podcasts and it's mostly Q&A. And I was like, I don't understand that, man.
Probably like an inexperienced host.
I get compliments because I figured I do what I did on the job site.
Yeah. Conversate, man.
We were having these conversations. I would get people asking me questions. I would ask them questions, and I'm like, we should be recording this shit.
How
And
many
that's how it started.
How many times, when you're on a site, you walk in, you don't know the plumber, electrician. Hey, how's it going? You guys start shooting the shit. By the end of the day, you guys are having full of fucking conversations, right?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Or you hate each other.
That's true.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you want to introduce yourselves one by one? We'll start with you, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm Johnny Majunas, one of the owners of iPLUMB, and also one of the partners at Jobtable.
And my name is Charlie Lord. I'm also one of the owners of iPLUMB and one of the founders of Jobtable as well.
Yeah, and I'm Kosta Panagoulias. I always like to say I'm a father to 3 amazing children.
How young are you?
37?
We all have 3 kids.
We all
We
have
actually
three-
You all have 3 kids.
Yeah, 9.
9 kids.
Yeah.
9 kids.
Holy cow. How young are you? Everybody the same age?
I'm the oldest here,
the
believe it
oldest.
or not. I'm 40.
You're 40 years
Yeah.
old? Okay, that makes sense with 3 kids, but you guys are a little young to have 3 kids in this generation. I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't see it too often.
What generation?
No, I just like
Generation that's still in the basement?
they're barely having 1 kid. When they
Exactly.
finally let go of the dog or they wish the dog passes or something like that, then they can have a kid.
There's not. Look.
You guys are
truthfully-
old school.
Yeah. Truthfully, look, I'm one of 5, right?
Same with me. Same with me.
Yeah, I'm one of 5. Very old school, like family. And the one thing I'll say is we could talk about construction, we could talk about business, we could talk about money, we could talk about investments, talk about all this, but nothing's more important than family,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Nothing's more rewarding. Nothing will give you satisfaction like kids, right?
Well, who's the youngest kid and who's the oldest kid? Out of the 3 of you guys.
Mine are 9,
I
7,
probably
and
have
5.
the youngest, 20 months,
Okay. And oldest?
6.5.
My oldest 6.5, and my youngest is 2 and 3 months, 2 and 4 months.
You guys all spend so much time in the hospitals at the same time. eh?
100%. I baptized his kid. I baptized
Holy
his kid.
cow,
He's baptized
wow.
my kid. Yeah.
This is
Johnny and I
rare.
timed our kids. Like, they're all the same age.
Yeah.
like,
This is
months
rare,
apart.
man.
We've known each other since me and Kosta have known each other since like maybe, 6, 7 years old. And every milestone that we've done in our lives, like, from buying your first house, starting your first business, getting married, having kids, it's kind of been like aligned. You know what I mean? And it's not like we, it's a running joke. We didn't time it. It's just, I think when you have good friends, that become actual family, you push each other, right?
Okay, so we can't spend too much time together, guys, because I'm not going to get married to have kids at this age, right?
No?
So I just got to be careful about
How old
that.
are you, 23?
I'm going to be 53 soon, man.
No kids, not
yeah,
married?
no kids, no married, man.
No?
No.
You
So.
want me to hook you up?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm fine. I need an orange apron and shave my head. That's it. I'm fine, man. I'll stay a monk for now, right? Maybe in 10 years that might change, man.
Okay.
So welcome. I love that you guys are here.
Thank
I
you.
want to. Where do you guys want to start? How do you guys want to begin? Plumbing?
Whatever
Yeah,
you
we can
want,
start
man.
with
You
the
take it
I
away.
like that you guys are starting with a relationship. I like that you guys have found a circle that feeds off each other.
Yeah.
Is the circle bigger?
Can I give a quick shout out?
Sure, you can
first?
give as many shout-outs as you like, yeah.
For my cousin Raf, who I was in Portugal, this is how we're here, right? He texted me out of nowhere. I was in Portugal a couple of months ago. He texted me a screenshot of your podcast saying like, hey, you should go on the show. And then I emailed you right after.
Yeah.
And so here we are today. So quick shout out to Raph. I'm sure he'd get a kick out of that. So
Raph he's been on the show.
No, he's just a listener.
I
of
knew
the show.
another Raph that was a drywaller.
No, Raph's an electrician.
Okay.
Oh, he's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Why isn't he on the show? Why didn't he reach out?
Hey, maybe
He just
we'll
listens.
come back on.
Some guys are afraid to be on the show, eh? I don't know why.
I don't know.
Well, I can speak from experience, like being in construction. You know, me and Charlie, we like to be under the radar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want people. I think until we started Jobtable, even if you Googled my name, you couldn't find me, right?
Yeah, that's not my situation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
It changes when you have a podcast.
Yeah,
Social media and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I'm waiting for the day I Truman Show and just bow down and get the fuck out of Dodge. Right? Pass it on to
hear ya.
somebody else at that point, right?
Yeah.
I'll keep the show up so the next generation could be listening to it like 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Which I think I get a kick out of personally when I get older, right? If I make it to that age, hopefully I do. But
Yeah.
no, so I like that the circle, you guys are all feeding off each other and you guys are starting that way, right? But you're not in construction, you guys are in construction.
correct.
Yeah, I can tell you how we met. It's actually a funny story. We were actually about 20 years ago. We were in trade school.
Which one?
George Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Downtown, King?
No, Davenport.
No, Davenport, Casa Loma.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So when you're a plumbing apprentice, you have to go to school 3 times within that 5-year period. So I happened to be like about 30 minutes late on my first day of basic plumbing as a 3rd-year apprentice. And who do I run into? This handsome gentleman over here, also 30 minutes late for class. So we kind of bumped into each other, and he's frantically asking me if I know where the plumbing class is, right?
And you're wondering the same thing?
Same thing.
So these 2 delinquents stumble into class, and the last 2 seats available, of course, are in the back corner of the classroom. So we hit it off, became good buddies, went back to trade school every year after that, got our plumbing licenses 3 years later, and within 6 months opened up iPLUMB.
That fast?
That fast.
You guys were confident, ready to rock and roll?
I wasn't. He was.
You
and
were?
I give him
Why
all the-
weren't you and why were you?
Well, I have a little background stories to that as well. One key point that he left out when we got into the class, and we got to the back, and they were already taking notes. We looked at each other. It's like, you have a pen? No. You have a paper? It's like, no. It's like, fuck.
You guys didn't bring anything in a plumbing class?
fucking like
Nothing
this
at
guy.
all?
Look.
Did you have a wrench?
Look. Truthfully, I'm a grade 10 dropout, right?
we're
and
both high school
I
dropouts.
don't say that, like it's something to brag
I
about.
don't judge. That's
Right?
it
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
change my opinion about anybody.
My
yeah.
brother's your age, right?
Yeah.
My brother always said, my brother's the one who forced me to go work for him, right? Like I started in irrigation. I was 15 years old, right? And he said, the brain doesn't want to work, the body has to suffer, right? So that's essentially what happened. So now I go into, construction, I go through the trade. I'm forced to go to school, which is good, right? But I get to beginner and it's like, I don't know what to expect.
You guys didn't know anything about plumbing?
No, we were already,
No,
so we
we're
were
a
already
third-year
working on the job
apprentice.
site
Yeah.
for 3 years, but you're
But they
forced to go to
forced-
school for 2 months.
Got it.
Three
You
times.
have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And what I was always told going through the trade is like, because a lot of guys, they want to go in their first year and their second year. But what I was told is like, do beginner in your 3rd year, right?
Okay.
Then you do intermediate in your 4th year, and then do advanced in your 5th year, which is your last year, but do it at the end of the 5th year. So this way, when you're done, you're advanced, which means you've passed the school, everything's still fresh. And then from there, literally, like that was a Friday, on the Monday, I'm driving to the ministry to book my CFQ, right? To go write it.
Man, you guys were just diving right into it, huh?
But what are you gonna do, man?
No,
You know what I
why
mean?
waste time? Just do it.
Like, look, that's the one thing for anybody listening that I would say, you got to just fucking do it.
But are kids doing that today?
No.
Are they just diving in?
I think they still are. Some are.
They're
Yeah.
few and far between.
But the work ethic isn't there. That's the difference. Like
Yeah.
I think
What
there's
exactly does that mean? Like they just don't.
we
I
talk
don't-
we talk about this all the time. It's one of our favorite topics. We always kind of debate whether you want to hire the kid with more skill or more work ethic, and we'll always
Work ethic, like-
work ethic all day,
100%.
all day, right?
You
Because
can teach the
you
skill.
can't teach
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
a
teach
no-brainer.
work ethic. I just think that some kids have it and some kids don't. I think less kids have it today than they used to.
Do you think
why
the
that
kids,
is? I think it's just because the generation now is just soft. It's just softer in every aspect.
But do you think the kids of today are looking around the corner for something better already when they have no idea what's better?
I think they want something easy, not necessarily
Nobody
better.
wants to like lift up anything heavy.
No.
Like, nobody wants to do the work.
Well, they do. I don't want to say they want to lift up anything heavy, but once they realize that it's going to be like that for the rest of your life, right, until you retire, that's kind of where,
but the money, like the money is good.
It's a new social world we live in, right? I don't know if you saw the survey that was done. I think it was either in the U.S. or Canada. It surveyed kids, I think under 20. What do you want to be when you're an adult? You know what the number one response was?
Influencer?
An influencer. But you asked that same survey in China, and it was like astronaut, engineer. So I think it's this, I don't know, it's a
They wanna be
culture
you.
that we're in.
They don't want to be me.
They look at you, this show, and it's like, you know.
No,
Well, that's what they see. They see the lights, camera, action, but they don't understand the hard work
There's
that
a lot
goes
of work
into it.
still,
Of course,
right? And there's no guarantee. First of all, someone has to listen, right? I mean, I went in the mindset of as long as one person's listening, I'm fine with that.
yeah.
Right? But that was like, I got rid of that really quickly when people start engaging with you and you start talking. And then also, I don't think this generation could take the negative side of that influencing world, the criticism.
Probably not, yeah.
No.
Like I can take it and let it bounce the fuck off of me. I don't
But
care,
that's 'cause
right?
you're old school,
Yeah,
right?
that's
That's
what I
'cause you're
mean.
old
So it's
school.
like
We
you
were brought
offend
up-
me. Come on.
we were brought up, gives a fuck what they say, do you, right? Keep
Good.
your head down.
You don't like me?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck,
But I think
right?
that honestly, the old school is why so many more kids used to go into construction. I didn't have a choice. I had a single mom. I shared a bed with my mom till I was 11 years old downtown. So it wasn't like going to college or university wasn't even an option that was ever given to me. So it's like at 14, she told me, you're going to get a job because I can't give you money when you're in high school for food. So it wasn't, and I'm not saying this in a bad way.
No,
it was
no.
just, that's
You're
what I just
paying
dove
attention.
into.
You're just
so
looking
like
at
I
the
told
landscape.
you, I was on
Yeah.
a roof when I was 14. I was drywalling at 16, 17. So, but this was normal to me. And I liked it because I was making fucking all kinds of cash when I was young. Right? So I
Were
think
you
just
just
by
going
default,
job to job? Like you were like,
no, I worked, like the roofing company was my buddy's dad.
okay.
And actually, it was like one of the best lessons I ever got in my life. I actually slid down the roof at 15 years old, and he had just started shingling the bottom. And I'll never forget this. My buddy's psychopathic dad. We had to go to Woodbine Racetrack for anybody that can go
Before
back.
it was burnt down.
Yeah, and that's where we used to get paid every week before he would spend it all. And he caught me right as I was falling over the edge, and he picked me back up, and he sat me down, and he looked at me, and he goes, "Son, where the fuck do you think you're going? I'm paying you for the whole day." And true fucking story, man. I was 15 years old, so I crawled back up to the ridge of the roof, and I laid there for 2 hours. Yeah.
You were still contemplating what the hell could have happened?
Yeah, and then I got over it, and I went back to work. But that just kind of speaks to like the old school mentality.
What
like,
would have happened if it was a kid today that happened? That happened.
fuck. Yeah, I mean, the ministry would be involved.
No, they would have went
the-
down the ladder and just went home.
Oh, he would have on the side.
You on what I think would happen,
Yeah.
truthfully?
What?
That kid would go home.
Yeah, I think
The
so.
parent would call
Yeah, I
the
think so.
company
I think so.
and say, my son, doesn't feel comfortable. And this is, again, I'm not knocking the new generation. We want to see them do well, right? But we just come from different, I want to say upbringing, right? Like, we came home. What did we used to do as kids, right? We came home, dropped our bag, grabbed something from the fridge,
Yep.
went outside. We're outside all day, all night. You know what I mean? They don't do that.
If you really look at it, the underbelly of it, right? I feel like the last few decades, like this part of the world, things have been booming, right? And so
You mean North America?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and because of that, I think the lack of adversity that a lot of kids don't have really. They've never faced any adversity. So when you fall off a roof or something, it's like you don't know how to handle it.
So what do you think is going to happen to these people when they become your age?
It's concerning.
Weak men
I
create
think
bad
it's very
times.
concerning.
I think that's kind of like where we're headed.
We're probably in that cycle.
Like I always tell the story. Like me and Johnny, we were fortunate enough to learn plumbing from all the old Italians before, like as they were retiring, right? the Zentiles and all these like.
But would you
old
be here if
companies.
those old Italians weren't there?
No, like that's what I mean.
don't think you
When I
would.
tell stories of like those guys throwing hammers at us for bringing them the wrong tool,
Yeah.
right? People take that as a negative thing, but I'm not saying it
It's
in a
not
negative
the
way.
claws coming at you. It's just the hammer part is coming at you. If you get lucky, it's the handle.
Right?
You know
And
what
you're
I'm
supposed
saying?
you're supposed to dodge it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It keeps you quick.
But the point is, it's not a negative thing. It's
No.
just it's a rougher upbringing, but it gives you character and it makes you tough and prepares you for the real world.
You gotta have thick skin, man. No matter what you're doing, you gotta have thick skin.
Build the future you dream of with Generation Construction. Your home is where life happens, where your style shines, and where your future begins. Whether it's your first home, a space for growing family, or a place all your own, you need a builder who understands your vision and brings it to life. At Generation Construction, they ensure your home is everything you've imagined. Greg, the visionary behind Generation Construction, knows that today's homeowners, they want more than just walls. They want a space that reflects who they are. At Generation Construction, they don't just build houses, they craft homes that are uniquely yours. With a reputation for excellence, trust, and a commitment to working with the best, Generation Construction offers a seamless, stress-free experience that ensures your home stands strong for years to come. Contact Generation Construction today at 705-961-5562 in the Muskoka area and 647-381-0361 in the Greater Toronto area, or visit them at www.generationconstructionltd.com. For inquiries, email Greg at greg@generationconstructionltd.com. Let's build your dream project together. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
Right? And like, I can ask you this, Manny, like, do you think that people have the thick skin when you were growing up that you see in this newer generation?
They had it then, they don't have it now. No, I think there's a lot of coddling going on, I think. And what's unfortunate is that the bumps and bruises, I've said it several times, either on social media or on the show, they've navigated you to where you end up. If you don't experience those bumps and bruises, you're just on a straight line. Life is not a straight line. Life is a bunch of rights, lefts, down the, and things happen and they direct you into these different places, right? So you need to have these bumps and bruises. I think it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do. And look, it's not, I don't think it's done intentionally. I think, as a father, having 3 young kids, the opportunities I didn't get, the stuff that my parents didn't give me, I say it all the time. I remember, making AA hockey, right? And it was like coming home, it's like, I took myself to that tryout, you know what I mean? I was, 11 years old, and it's like, okay, I made it. It's like, how much is it? It's like, it's this much, and this how many games? Like, absolutely not. You can forget about it, where they're, now having 3 kids, I want to give my kids these opportunities. I want to treat them the way, maybe I thought was harsh of my parents, the way they taught me. But then we complain as well that it's like, oh, this generation's soft. So I don't think it's done intentionally, right? I think people, they want to give their kids the best upbringing, but unfortunately, it's like you said, right? You used the right word, like they coddled them, right? And look, I'll speak honestly. I probably do a little bit of that too, right? I got 2 little girls and a little.
That's like you're supposed to.
Yeah, but look.
But mixed in with some life.
Well, look, like
right?
I got, my son is the youngest, right? My son's only 2 years old. My wife says.
So you got 2 older sisters. Your son's got 2 older sisters?
Yeah. So my son's only 2 years old. So my wife says it to me all the time that like, I'm harder on my son than I am on the girls. And it's like, well, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Of course.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's for this so that he can grow up with thick skin, be tough, be ready for the world, right? And even though he's the youngest, and again, maybe some people might be laughing, listening, but you got to protect these girls.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than dad, you're the man of the house after this. You know what I mean? So you need to raise them to be like that, right?
I'm not a parent, but I guess I revel in listening to parents and how they go through certain things. I don't know how far back, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, you started the helicopter parent comment bullshit.
Yeah.
And when I started hearing about that and everyone gets a trophy, and I was like, there's something wrong here. I don't agree with
that's
this.
terrible.
But as a person who's not a parent, I don't have a voice when it comes to parenting. This is what I was told by a parent, right? So it's just like, okay, but I disagree with you because I've been a dog parent, right? And it's similar and it's not. It's like you still have loss and all this other shit. But where I was going with this is that they were talking. They're also coaches, these parents. So they were talking about Hockey Today coaching, and they started explaining to me how dealing with the parents of the kids is far worse than trying to coach the kids, because the parents only care about ice time and all these opportunities. They think that every kid is going to be some superstar, and I'm like, no classroom has every superstar in it. You might get lucky with one superstar in there, but that's not a guarantee either. So it's like, don't think that every kid is absolutely perfect and made to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Some are designed for other purposes, but that other purpose is not necessarily a lack of being a superstar. You can be a superhero doing construction. You could be a superhero doing any career option. But I get into the argument with the kids about why is construction still frowned upon?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's the social. It goes to the social circle where they tell their friends, don't get into construction. That's dirty. You're going to be dirty. You're going to come home dirty. And you're going to work early hours. You're going to work long hours.
I feel like that's changing.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know. I think that used to be the kind of stereotype, but I feel it's shifting. I really do.
Yeah, because I think people too are realizing, like we were saying before, it's not as easy as you think, right?
No, you need to know your stuff, and there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, and honestly, in all fairness too, like, look, we have a company with, over 30 people, and we have a lot of young guys. They're still out there. It's not like they're not.
Yeah.
But
Was it hard to find that?
It is, man. I do all the hiring. I mean,
What's your primary source? Indeed?
Indeed. A lot of referrals too.
Referrals,
we'll get a lot of friends, cousins say, hey, I got a kid here. He's good.
Don't they all want to climb up the construction ladder a lot faster and get to your pay a lot sooner than you guys did?
Well, honestly, I don't really see that. Like,
No?
I mean, I see a difference in ambition and drive. But money's never really a topic, man. We actually just had a 39-year-old guy, fucking sweetheart, man, came in, and I actually told this story on Instagram. I'll tell you quickly. I got a batch of 15, 20 people that wanted, a job.
Yeah.
So I usually kind of just call them first, just to kind of weed them out, narrow it down to 5, 10. So I narrowed it down to 5 guys who were coming in the following day for an interview. And this guy was one of the guys that I didn't call to come in. Okay. And he just fucking showed up the next morning before everybody came. And he was there, and he walks in and goes, look, I know you didn't call me for an interview, but I'm married. I got 3 kids. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I'm here now, and I'm not taking no for an answer. I want the opportunity. I'm going to show you that I can be the best fucking plumber you've ever seen in your life. So, that's worth something, right?
Of course it is, 100%. But flip that though. You could be a younger guy saying, listen, I want to be married one day. I want to have 3 kids one day.
Yeah.
Give me a shot.
So that's my point. You have those guys that are 39, but I also see it they're few and far between, more than they used to be. But you do get those 19, 19-year-olds right out of school, and they're hungry. They say, I'm not interested in college, university, and I want to be a plumber. I want to give it a shot. But again, it's rare. It's not like my day when I was an apprentice, where we were fighting for the job.
There was more opportunity back in your day. Like when you guys got into it.
More opportunity?
What year was this? What were we talking about when you guys were finishing up school and you guys finally got?
15. We started the company 15 years ago, so it would have been 20 years ago when we started. I was 20. He started young. I was 20.
Yeah, so we were just coming out of a so-called recession. Yeah. It was 4 or 5 years after the recession, right? Which was a bad one in the 90s. And then, so there was a lot of work. There was a lot of work in construction.
I think there's a lot more people applying for the positions now, but the quality is is terrible.
Look. The reality is this, and I never understood it. Like this guy, when he came in, the gentleman he's talking about, he works for us. After that first interview, I looked at him. I was like, this is the guy, and in fairness, Charlie's like, I'm going to interview some of the other guys. Some of the other guys sounded good. I think this.
You're only looking for one spot?
No, we were looking for
a couple.
Okay.
2 or 3, but one first year apprentice that was green, no experience.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that was a Thursday or a Friday. I think it was a Thursday. So he told like Charlie told him, okay, look, I have some other guys. I'll get back to everybody, let everybody know what happened. On the Monday, I'm at the office. Charlie's there as well. The guy comes in again, and it's like, fuck, he's back. You know, like nobody called him. And he's like, man, like I really need this. And I got to tell you, Manny, again, you know, I'm not very old, right? But back in my day, like I always say, like I was never out of work. If the company got slow and the company laid off, okay, the next morning I wouldn't look at it like, oh fuck, you know, I got to look for a job. Like what would I do? I'd wake up at the same time. I put my tools in my car. Okay, I knew the shops, right? Like you knew they were in Vaughan, Toronto. Like you know where the names that you want to work for, right? And I would show up in the morning, and it's like, yeah, can I speak to the owner? That. Truthfully, that's how I landed in the union. I was a non-union plumber originally, and I heard about this one outfit, right? And I just showed up in the morning. It was just like, you know, they were loading trucks, and guys are looking at me, you know, and you know, I was probably like 17 at the time, and it was intimidating. You got, you know, 60, 70 plumbers.
You're a gazelle
like,
inside the freaking den, man. I get it.
It's like the owner here, you know, and you can see the guys are smoking cigarettes, having their coffee, like, you know, kind of talking to you. Who the fuck is this kid, you know? And I remember the owner came out and he's like, yeah, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for an apprentice spot. You know, and the guy's like, well, where are you coming from, right? I told him the company I worked at. And he's like, we're a union. I'm like, no, I know. You know, I just heard about your company. I heard it's a good company to work for. And he's like, what can you do? I told him what I can do. And he's like, when can you start? I'm like, I got my boots on. I got my tools. And literally, the guy's like, okay, hop in with this guy. You're going to go. You take the papers, fill them out. And when you come back to the shop and, you know,
that's it. That's the start.
And that's how it kind of fell with this guy. This guy came in and he was fucking determined, right? He's like, look, you know, I'm 39 years old. I got 3 kids. I got a family. You know, I'm doing this right now. I understand I'm going to take a pay cut because I'm starting from the bottom. But I need to make something out of myself, you know? And just by saying that, like you saw it in him, like he had a passion, you know, because when we hire guys, our biggest thing is like, if you're here for a job, you're at the wrong spot. If you're here for a career, you know what I mean? You've come to the right place.
How long has this guy been with you guys?
He's 6 months now. But to answer your question about like somebody wanting to climb the pay scale, a guy like that will climb that ladder faster than anybody else because he's not after the money. He doesn't care about the money. Yeah. He's got the right mentality.
He's got to prove.
Right?
He wants to learn.
And like your original, like I want to give Johny the kudos he deserves because I've always looked at him like my younger brother, but he's wise beyond his years. When we started iPLUMB, I had just got my license. We got our license at the exact same time. I was just turned 26 and he turned 22, 23.
Did you guys bring a pen to write that one?
Yeah.
No, they gave you
they give you a pen. Yeah. So we started the company right away, but I was fucking shitting bricks, man. And to answer your question from before, the reason I was shitting bricks is I was a union plumber. I was 25, just turned 26. I was making $42 an hour. So coming from, you know, a poor single mother, not one single person in my life, not one, other than these 2 guys and my girlfriend at the time, said, fuck, yeah, go ahead, do it. You can do it. I know I have the confidence in you. Everybody told me that I was a fucking moron. This is the biggest mistake.
Who's everyone?
It just friends, family, anybody you can think of. Because at the time, think about it, like 25 years old, I was making $42 an hour plus pension plus benefits.
And they're saying this is not for you.
And there's to start a company,
to leave
that.
Got
right?
it.
So that's why I give Johny the kudos. He fucking quit his job the next day. He's like, no, we're doing this. We're opening iPLUMB. I don't care if you need to keep working at your job for 6 months until you feel more comfortable, and then you jump on. So
are you guys union?
No, we're non-union. That's a different story for a different day.
but in all fairness,
listen,
like,
I don't need a knock on the door.
No. In all fairness, like look, we pay our guys basically to a point where you don't need to go to the union.
Yeah.
Just put it that way.
Which I'm seeing a lot of businesses
benefits.
do.
Yeah. And why is that? Why is that? Because getting back to that work ethic, right? And getting back to like these new generation and, you know, what you kind of feel, and I'm not knocking the union because trust me, I was a local 46 guy, you know, great guys, some of the best guys I've ever met was being in there, right?
And you learned a lot.
Yeah, but the problem is that there's a lot of, I just want to, like, they almost feel entitled, some of them. You know what I mean? And this is what you're feeling with new generation. They come in and, I want this much, I want this, I want that. It's like, hold on, man. I haven't even fucking seen you with a tool in your hand. How about this, you know? And that's what I tell all my guys, right? Like the guys that we hire. We've hired licensed guys all the time. I want this, I want that. I'll tell you what, you know, like let's just say, hypothetically, the guy's asking, I want $45 an hour. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna start you at $35 an hour, okay? Show me what you can do. You don't even have to ask me, right? I'll pay you 50. I'll pay you 55.
But show me.
But you got to show me. You can't tell me this is what I want, right? Like this is not, it has to be earned. And sometimes when the thresholds are like that, and I know a lot of guys, even probably people listening, you know, guys that are union, right? They have this problem all the time where it's like, man, I'm making this wage. This guy's licensed as well. He's making this wage, but he doesn't do half the fucking things I could do, right? But he's getting paid the same as me.
But are we the only industry that's happening to? Because I don't see people going to Starbucks and a barista job and going, no.
Well, yeah,
they
because licensed
do it in
tradesmen-
construction.
Because good workers are hard to find.
they're hard to find, yeah.
Right? Quality workers. Well, for I can only speak for plumbing, anyways.
I know,
right?
but see, okay, if go to the kid and go, listen, get rid of the good worker mentality. You can't use that as an option for who you are to describe who you are. What else are you? Like you need to justify your expense on why you want to get paid this money, right? I don't care that you're a good worker. I don't care about that. What else are you good at?
Well, that's
That,
exactly,
I'm going towards the character and the personality of
Yeah,
that.
and
That
that's-
is far more
yeah,
valuable.
and that's exactly why, to me, pay grade means, you know, skill has a lot to do with it, work ethic, but also it's responsibility.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right? So, you know, if a guy is at $50 an hour and he wants to be at 65 because that guy's at 65, it's like, are you sure you want his responsibility? You know what I mean?
See, the way I look at it is that every tradesperson is a good worker or has the potential to be a good
Yeah,
worker.
1,000%.
I'm not looking for good workers. I'm looking for a career plumber. I'm looking for a career electrician. So do you want to become a career plumber, electrician, whatever,
Yeah.
carpenter, everybody?
Yeah.
Because we all can be good workers on a good day if we're having a good day. We are all that way. But we're looking for more than that.
We're looking for consistency.
A home built on trust, crafted with care. Your home is more than just a structure. It's where memories are made, where your family grows, and where you find comfort. That's why your renovation or building project deserves nothing less than the utmost care and quality. Because it's not just about creating a space, it's about creating a place where life happens. Tim, the heart and soul behind Ravine View Construction, understands that your home is personal, and whether you want to be involved in every detail or prefer to leave it in the hands of a trusted expert, he and his team are here to make your vision a reality. At Ravine View Construction, every project is handled with the passion it deserves, from the initial site assessment to the final touches that turn a house into a home. Tim's team doesn't just build, they protect what matters most. With a reputation built on trust, excellence, and a commitment to using only the best materials, Ravine View Construction ensures that your home isn't just beautiful, it's built to last. Tim and his team work alongside the finest tradespeople, guiding you through every step so you always feel confident and cared for. Let them help you create a space where you can enjoy peace of mind and cherish moments with those you love for years to come. Connect with Ravine View Construction today at 416-671-0170 or visit them at www.rvchomes.ca. For direct inquiries, email Tim at info@rvchomes.ca. Let them build not just a house, but a home filled with lasting memories. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
We were just talking about this yesterday. Culture is a very big thing at iPLUMB. So you need to obviously have a good head on your shoulders. You have to be, you know, within reason of what you're looking to get paid, right? But first and foremost, before any of that, is you have to fit into our company culture. And we have we're almost like a family, very tight knit. We tell, you know, guys know that our door is always open.
But
right?
that's by design, right?
Absolutely.
So you want
I think it is. It's by design, but it's also who we are as people.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We're very close. Like us three as business partners, we're like family. You know, like our
But they see that, right? Where they come in and they're like, I want to be it's going to rub off on them.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
It's a law of attraction.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this too. What is culture, right? It's comprised of people, right? And so to bring people into your culture, like when I hire, obviously I'm not a contractor, but I've hired over 100 people in other businesses. And the very first thing I do, first part of the hiring process, first call, has nothing to do with work. I just want to put the guard down. Who are you as a person? Like, let's just talk. And so that to me is just the most telling, the most important thing. And we can talk about the rest after. But if we can connect, then let's move on, talk about work.
And not every business is a good fit for everybody.
Of course not.
You have to find your business that's going to be a good fit.
course.
And plus also, I mean, you want to learn. But I don't think you can give yourself a month or 2 or 6 months to learn. You need to be there a little while. But most of these kids today, they jump ship fast.
They do.
For $1, $2 or whatever it is.
And I was actually going to say that. I tell all my guys, I say, if you come into my office and you're going to give me an ultimatum or a threat that you're going to leave me for $1, $2, right? That door is going to hit you
Yeah.
so fast,
should.
right? Because that means that your mentality is not to stay here. You're chasing the buck, right? And I say this a lot. It's, I feel like it's becoming almost like my motto, right? What people see of me, but it was told to me by somebody who's very successful, and he said, "Don't chase the money, chase the relationships. The money will follow."
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's the same with our guys. Like, if you're coming to give me an ultimatum over $1, $2, it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
What do you think is going on right now with the economy turning? You're getting work based on relationships that you built years ago.
This is the beginning of the year was the slowest we've ever been in 15 years.
That's
and
not
what saved
surprising.
us? Relationships.
Yeah.
That's what saved us, because guys that we've gone to bat for turned around and said, I picked up a job and I'm not even looking for any other
It's
prices.
subliminal,
coming
you
to
know that, eh? Because it's funny. I've had enough people on the show that people reach out to me and they're like, "Can you recommend somebody?" And the stronger relationships I have with people, those are the ones that first pop in my head.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And that's the name and number that I share first.
Of course.
It just instinctively, it just happens.
Especially
100%.
construction. Construction is one of the
It
last
just happens.
cowboy industries
Yeah.
too, right? We work off handshakes a lot of times and just eye contact.
But your
Right.
recommendation is backed by the relationship that's been building.
Absolutely.
And it's
And the
also
trust.
a reflection of you.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you used to be a GC,
Yeah.
correct? So, somebody calls you, your cousin calls you, "Hey, Manny, I need a plumber," right? Who you have that good relationship with, a guy you trust.
That's who you're going to recommend.
That's who you're going to recommend. But guess what? If that guy's not reliable, guess who's calling you back? Your cousin. Manny, what the fuck?
And the
it's
truth
like-
of the matter is that when the names or numbers come up, I would say the youngest is probably in their 30s. It's very few that is in the 20s right now, right? That I
Yeah.
would say give them a shot or something like that.
We looking back, those are the relationships we have with these general contractors today. Like the amount of free stuff we did, we earned those relationships.
But you were building a relationship.
We were building a business
Yeah.
first and foremost, and then the relationships as well at the same time. So for us, it's we're building a brand new office. This is our general contractor speaking. Can you guys do the plumbing? Absolutely. And we never sent a bill, right? And that went a long way with them. And we did that multiple times in favors, and then over time they just the trust is there both ways. Okay.
They know you're there to help, right? It's and this is what I see a lot. I want to say from, just people that get stuck, is they're looking to charge for every little thing, right? And it's like, how are you going to build a relationship? How are you going to call this guy? Let's say that guy hasn't got paid from the client, but now you need money. How are you going to call him and say, "Dude, can you, I know you haven't been paid. Can you at least maybe release 50%? The guy's going to look at you and be like, "Fuck you. You charge me $20 to come and,
I usually did, and then I wouldn't call them back for another job. That's just how it worked.
that's what it is, right? So to me, that's why that saying, don't chase the money, chase the relationship, the money will follow. It is it's true in every sense of the word, right? Like if you just leave the money, you know what I mean? Like obviously you're in business, you need to make money, but
the money is going to come.
Yeah, if you focus more on the relationship, you'll see that it happens naturally. Where I feel like if you're always chasing the money, you're forcing. It's like something that you're constantly trying to force.
What I noticed too, and now speaking to thousands of contractors, and I don't want to generalize, but there's often a lack of just emotional intelligence. Just having the ability to take a step back and think about the relationship side. I'm not going to ask this guy to, I'm not charging $50 for whatever. They're great at the craft, but oftentimes suck at the business side. on the thinking.
That's the standard. It's a stigma
I know.
almost.
But
How many
it's
contractors do you
unfortunate.
think play chess? I haven't played chess in a while, but it was a good friend of mine from high school who's one that got me on it. He always beats me, and I was like, fuck you. But I think contractors would give themselves a very life lesson, serious life if they learn how to play chess. And the reason I bring it up is chess is not one by one move.
Exactly.
So these kids are not paying attention to the conversation I have with you, let's say today. I just met you, and we have a conversation today. This conversation is not being seeded for today. It's being seeded for next week or the week after and so on, or maybe even a year from now. I had another friend reach out to me. I haven't spoken to him in a bit, and he just touched base. He's like, fuck, I haven't spoken to you, man, in a bit, right? And I've known this guy for 5-6 years now through social media and through everything. And that's what happens is these conversations are seeded for the future. Yeah. And I think most kids today are not planting any fucking seeds. They're not realizing these moves, these chess moves. It takes time to get to this point where this will benefit you a year from now. But a year to them is a long, long time.
Yeah. I think it's also foundational, right? Back to why I think the tides are turning, right? Like use me as an example. And I think I'm not alone in this thinking. I'm sure we all are aligned here, but I'm a university educated, got my degree and all that. Personally, I think there's next to no value in universities. My kids, if I were to bet my house, they're not going to university.
What was your major?
A business, Bachelor of Commerce and Accounting.
So there was a lot of you there.
Yeah, no. And the reason I did that is because I thought, I could probably make the most money as an accountant, but I never did anything with it. But anyways, I think today the value of university totally diminished. So what I'm getting at is my kids, I'm truthfully going to push them into a trade. I think that adds a lot of toughness and grittiness, and just like we talked about getting bumps and bruises. Like you can't learn getting bumps and bruises through a textbook. You got to actually get those bumps and bruises in the real world. Yeah. And I feel like trades is a very good avenue to build character. So, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we're all aligned. Like my kids, I'm going to push them into this industry.
I'll put what he's saying into the real world, in our world, right, Manny? So you're a GC, you built houses. How many times did you get into an argument with the architect?
A few.
No, not on one project, like in general.
No, in general, it's not an argument. I always consider them discussions. And they were discussions based off challenges.
Well, it's a challenge because, see, like us, we do a lot of commercial, industrial, mid-rise, a lot of new construction.
But you guys are like, you're given all the information.
Well, what happens is because we build relationships, a lot of times we're in the budgeting processes, right? So they'll send us, a floor plan, right? And say, okay, can you give us a budget based on this? We don't know where the services are. Okay, where's it coming from? So we're sizing things, but just to give them like a budget number, right?
Yeah.
And we help the engineers. So a lot of times we'll look at something, and again, like you said, it's a discussion, right? Hey guys, this is not going to work because of A, B, and C, right? Then they'll push back at us, and we'll be like, no, man, like you can come to site and look for yourself, and sometimes they'll put certain notes in the drawings that kind of like alleviates them, and it's like, look, guys, in the end of it, and that's where I get back to where it's like, they're educated. I'm not trying to put my education above theirs above mine, but you have to have those bumps and bruises. You have to build it in order to draw it, right? And that's one, I've always said, like in the architect, engineering space, I always feel like a prerequisite should be like at least like 2 years on the field, like in the trade, right? So if,
But that's not part of the course.
This is what I mean. But
right.
then again, they're again, they're very smart people, right? I'm not knocking engineers, architects, like 100% we need them. But sometimes I think that, because people feel educated, like they feel a little bit above, where it has to be like a collaborative effort, right? So, whether you're white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter, right? Like just because you have a little bit more education, if you don't have those bumps and bruises to put it up.
The best architects and engineers that I've ever worked with are the ones that don't park at the front gate of the job site and are actually in the pit with you discussing the deal.
1000%.
The ones that only want to have a conversation on the phone and are refusing a site visit, I don't get along with them. And the thing is, you're right, because those ones are trying to trump your experience with their education.
Exactly.
And I think where the discussion comes in is that if we want to talk about something, I want to take my experience to the table and you're going to bring your experience to the table and we're going to compare apples and apples. I understand the projects you've done, but you don't have to understand the projects I've done. So I'm letting you know what I've experienced and what I've done in the past that has worked really well. And you're going to do the same thing and we're going to find a middle ground. That's how things get done in construction.
That's the way it's supposed to get done.
Yeah.
But a lot of times,
Not all the time, I know.
Yeah, and a lot of
get it.
times, and that's what I'm saying. You need those bumps and bruises, right? You need to fall down. You need to try again, right?
But it's a collaborative effort. Like you guys still need, we can have the plumber and electrician jokes all the time. You still need each other. Same with the HVAC and all the other framing, drywall.
1000%.
Everybody works together.
1000%.
There's no one person that, and I love seeing trades or GCs doing their own personal projects and all the fuckery that they do because they make the same mistakes that every client makes, right? They have such blinders on, they don't realize it, but as a collective, you can achieve it.
Yeah.
But you need to work together to achieve it, right?
Yeah.
I
100%.
was going to ask you guys about, is half the union at home these days or what?
Yeah, funny.
Yay or nay?
It looks
No
like
comment.
it, yeah.
There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of members.
You know,
yeah.
when we actually just had a guy leave about 7 months ago, one of our best guys, and he went to the union for a couple bucks more. And 3 months later, he got laid off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a lot of them at home.
Yeah, so.
So now let me ask you this. You know, I know we were talking about the economy and stuff. So obviously we've seen a shift in the economy, whether it's construction, whether it's anything. What is your insight on that? Like, what do you think is happening?
What do you think is happening right now?
Yeah, like in general.
Canada has exploded too much printing money and has damaged the economy to the point where we're not going to start to see a rebound until 27. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that.
No, it's a reality.
We're in survival mode right now.
Yeah.
We're going to be in survival mode all through 25, and it's going to start to change in 26, but it ain't going to be getting closer to the top of the mountain until 27.
Yeah.
I'll go beyond that. I think we're at the point where there's no return. The financial system is just going to collapse with the unless they just stop printing money, which is not going to happen. They have to.
But they're good at
So
masking things.
I know, but what that's going to do is just consistent up and downs. We're going to have inflation indefinitely. That's not going anywhere.
That's what I mean. It's
You're
going to be
gonna
like
see it
a
up and down.
steady stream of inflation that we're just so used to.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you've got a cut on your arm and you continuously put a new Band-Aid on it over and over, but you
Yeah.
know you need sutures, that's not really going to solve the problem.
You're going to see these probably little spikes that
I know.
are masked
I
as
know.
great times, but the underbelly is collapsing. It's unwinding.
How
as we
wise
speak.
is this younger generation regarding this? Are they understanding a government proposing $250 GST tax credit or whatever is actually going to cost you as a citizen $350? Do they understand that math?
That's my biggest concern, because one thing I noticed of this year is that, obviously interest rates went up, people aren't spending as much money, there's a lot of uncertainty, and it kind of just showed me, even in the commercial industrial, developers, it kind of just showed me that it's do people really have money, or is it just borrowed money?
It's borrowed money.
You see what I'm saying? So, because if there's uncertainty in the market and there's a slowdown and people aren't spending money, that's usually the time people go and capitalize on certain things, right? Obviously, real estate has gone down. It's not like real estate's moving too much, right? So it's all on borrowed money.
This is a debt-based economy. If no one had debt, the capital would get wiped out. That's just the reality. Every dollar in circulation is actually debt.
Oh, I know that.
Right.
But it makes it more, so right now it makes it more challenging to convince people to stay, let alone get into construction.
Yeah, no.
How can you argue? You can't argue. Listen, I know half the drywall force is at home, union base. Half the plumbing force is at home, union base. That's a lot. I've been for years been saying there is no labor shortage. Shut the fuck up. It's not. It's a housing problem. And we actually talked about it on the show. It's a municipal housing problem. The municipal government bodies are preventing permits from being approved. They're the stranglehold on getting projects going. But now you combine that with our rates and our debt, projects are not starting. So you got a workforce that can't work. So why would you as a young person get into construction now? Attention homeowners and businesses. Are you looking for top-notch electrical contracting services you can trust? Consider the expert tradesperson behind Effect Electric Ltd. They take pride in delivering quality, service, and professional installation on time and on budget. From Kohler generators to main service upgrades or network data installation, they do it all. With years of experience and a commitment to excellence, Carlo and his team at Effect Electric Ltd. are your go-to professionals for all your electrical and generator needs. Effect Electric Ltd. is an authorized Kohler home energy generator dealer. Kohler has air-cooled 26 RCA units, the quietest, the most powerful, and exceptionally durable generator with 109 amps max power on liquid propane. Custom color options, camouflage options, and every generator Kohler makes is built to last and is equipped with a commercial-grade engine. Call Effect Electric Ltd. today at 416-508-7725 or visit them at effectelectricltd.kohlergeneratordealer.com. Let's build something great together. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
It's good. That's a good point. You can also look at it as in another way where I can see that as being like a tremendous opportunity where now it's weeding out a lot of like the bullshit contractors.
It's an opportunity to right the ship.
Yeah.
Not only ride the ship, but excel at what you're doing, because now it's weeding out all the, because let's face it, again, since 2008, since the financial crisis,
the U.S. financial crisis.
Yeah, but Canada, we always
Harper kept us at bay, the mortgage check and everything like that. He did that properly, right?
Nonetheless, let's just say 2008 from today to today, 16 years. It's been very easy to make money. Let's face it. Interest rates have been next to nothing. You had people who really had no business making money were making money, flipping houses. Like, it was easy, right? I think we can all agree to that. But now it's to the point where that's all getting weeded out. Like, the best disinfectant is sunlight, right? And so this is bringing these interest rates, this uncertainty, it's bringing sunlight into this world, into the economy, into business. And so I see that as a great opportunity where you can, if you're actually good at what you do, you're passionate at what you do, it's a good opportunity to stand out and just be the best in your industry. Because it's going to be less competitive.
100% I agree with you. Even when the COVID madness happened, I started preaching saying, now's the time to restructure your business. Figure out how to move forward navigating. That's simple as that. We know that, okay, we're essential workers or whatever, but there's still opportunity here. And if you have anything, go back to the 1950s mentality about 100% customer service. Yeah. Leave the best impression ever. If you start doing that now and practicing that and building that, you're going to have the relationship and the clientele that's going to be hanging around, remembering you and calling you when there is lean years, because the lean years are coming.
Yeah.
It's a little scary, but I agree with you that this is when you try to do something.
COVID was a big eye opener. We took a beating, but if anything, it motivated us to work harder than ever and kind of make sure it never happens again, right? Kind of change the way our company was structured.
Yeah.
Right. I had lots of kids on the show that started a lot of business. And when I say kids, like as young as 16, 17-year-olds starting lawn businesses. Yeah. Maintenance and shit like that. And they started it during COVID.
And you were saying about these young kids that can't see past, the next 6 months, right? I don't know which side of the coin you landed on during COVID, but when the government tells you they're going to print $200 billion, right, and shut everything down, the fact that people don't think it's going to be a problem 3-4 years down the line is insane.
It's a major problem.
Right? But that's the reality. It's just this is the people that just they care about the now, right? What are you going to give me now? I don't care about 2 years from now.
I landed on the side of let me think about options, and I'm going to go with this one. That's where I landed, right? I didn't tell anybody to go where I was going. I just made my own decision. Yeah. Simple as that, right? So, and I didn't judge anybody that was different or choosing different than me, right?
Yeah. All I'll say about that, about where I landed, is me and, I'll say Johnny kind of made the decision to never let anybody dictate what we can and can't do ever again.
That's the side where I landed. Simple as that. Right. But I didn't, if you wanted to, my whole family got jabbed. I was the only one that didn't. And I was just like, that's my choice. I know enough about health and wealth, immune system. I know enough that if you started exercising, eating healthier, it made more sense. that you were going to be in a better position. That was then, but that was a different story.
What makes you say 2027? Like, where do you...
First of all, the election, I honestly believe, unless there's pressure coming from Trump to force our current leadership to get out and call an election sooner, it's a math, right? Singh does not get his $2 million pension until February. February is not that far from October. So it's going to be a jab on tariffs from America, Trump, to Trudeau, right? And is it going to be enough for him to go, I'm a narcissistic individual, okay, let's call an election, or am I going to wait until the rest of it until October, which I think is what's going to happen. So you're going to get the election in October, then you're going to get the changing of the guard. Now you get Pierre coming in because nobody cares about voting what's currently there. You're going to get him to come in now. So that's the end of 25. Right? So now he's going to have to start to change shit. And he's going to start doing small cuts. He ain't going to do big cuts because you still have to somehow fight the American tariffs. And you're also going to have to still kind of keep work going on in Canada.
What's he going to change? What's he going to cut, though?
Carbon tax. That's what he's going to do. That's the only thing he's going to do.
But do you think that's enough, though? Because I kind of, I agree with Kosta where I feel like the damage is done.
No, I agree with you. Totally. It's not enough.
I think what comes is really
But
just...
remember, liberals are going to be fighting him the whole time.
I think a big boost, the cuts is going to make some little impact, but I think it's more so just the perception of the people. Like you're going to get this short-term like uplift. You're going to feel good. You're probably going to spend more because the new government's in place, and you think things are going to get better. But the reality is, like, what's he going to cut?
The problem with Canadians, and I'm not putting myself in that category, is they'll forget the last decade real quick. And I don't think anybody should forget the last decade. I think it's the worst decade in Canadian history.
Absolutely.
Worst.
But they will
ever.
forget it.
100%.
They will forget
They
it
will.
fast.
See,
100%
it's because
fast. And that's a major problem.
I think if you beat people down enough, you give them a small victory and they'll run with it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
and
where the forgetting
And I
part
think that's
comes
what,
in.
Kosta's point, that it's like the damage has been done. So Pierre can come in and he can cut, something here
It's
and there.
cut carbon, that's all it
And
is.
people will smile, they'll be happy, and they'll forget about it.
Gas is less, groceries are a little less, and they'll feel happy. But the bank is never going to drop back down to
I
2
think
again.
it becomes a game of like a preservation wealth game at this point.
Yeah, but those who used the system became so wealthy that they don't have to worry about anything ever happening again.
Even if the system's going to shit, I think if you're smart enough to like, look, I'm in this system, there's ways to navigate it.
Yeah.
Now you just got to figure that out. But in general, I think it's a preservation game right now. Like, if you're not thinking about how to preserve your wealth and capital, you're a sitting duck. You're just getting debased every single day.
But now as a trade, if you continue working or if you start a business now and you weather this storm and you build your business off of relationships and customer service, you're going to have a pretty good 26.
You're in a good spot.
Yes.
You're in a
I
good
totally
spot.
agree.
And
Yeah.
I definitely think after that hump of 26, that 27 and 28 is just going to be up. It's never going to drop back down. Whether this whole 2030 initiative and all this crap about these elites and shit, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about saying that.
At the end of the day, too, you have to realize, look at the amount of condos that are going up in Toronto. You can't sustain that. No one's going to buy a condo for $600,000-$700,000 with a 4 or 5% interest rate, right? And they're not building them for families either. They're building them for single, or one couple families with no kids, right? How many of those are you going to put up, right? So it's going to come to a screeching halt eventually, and they're going to have to pivot, right? So a lot of the guys that we're working with, they want to still put up buildings, but what they're going to do, they're going to build rentals, right? Because you got to go with the times. All the people coming in, they can't afford to buy anything, so now they're going to build rental units.
Did you hear the latest about the immigration thing?
Yeah. Actually, I read something. Well, I don't know if it's what you're talking about, but I read
4 million.
something this morning.
Yeah.
4 million next year.
What,
Yeah.
bringing in?
Out. Leaving.
Yeah. But logistically,
That's a lot.
Logistically, right? Like
12% of our population.
But just imagine that, right? You got 4 million people that have to leave by next
That's
December.
sorry.
Yeah.
That's 4 million immigrants that are leaving, like 4
That are
million that
supposed to
came
leave.
in and now
Yeah.
they're leaving again.
They have to leave. They're
Do you
supposed to
blame them?
leave.
No, I'm not blaming
No.
them. No, I'm
That's
just
not what-
saying, so what is that ripple going to have, right? And you still listen, as much as America has not been the epicenter lately, it's going to recapture that epicenter with Trump, whether you like him or not.
But do you actually
for
think
sure.
they're going to leave, though?
The 4 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do? I don't think they will.
I think there'll be like they're going to do it. First of all, but it's going to get offset because the American immigration is going to come north. He's already spoken that he's going to do the biggest deportation ever. Not everybody's going to get on a plane and leave America. They're going to come north. We don't have a protected border.
Yeah, that's true.
So even though we get 4 leaving out, you might get 4 coming in. America, how many immigrants came into America? A lot more than ours,
that you
right?
know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear the numbers
knows?
like 20.
So sorry?
I was just going to say to your point about the immigration. I think you kind of have to take that. I think with a bit of grain of salt because the Canadian economy like needs immigration. If you look at birth rates and all this, like our economy can't grow without people.
Well, what we need is small business owners thriving, building, and hiring. That's what we need.
But in order to do that, Manny, you need less taxes, bigger incentives, right? Like everybody this is the biggest conversation that I hear, right? And I'll speak for like my family dinner table, and I'm not talking about my wife and my kids. I'm talking about when the family gets together.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's when my parents get involved, right? I want to say it's the older generation, because our parents came, like, they were good-hearted people, right? They want to help everybody, right? And it's like, oh, if that guy made $1 million, yeah, he should pay more in taxes because these people over here are suffering. But that person who paid $1 million in taxes also employs, 100 people, which bring tax, like this is how the economy works. And this is where I never understood, even with the Trump argument, right? And again, I'm not saying I'm on either side, but in order for an economy to boom, in order for good times, you need jobs, right? Who creates those jobs?
Small business owners.
The businesses, you got to give them incentives, right? You got to lower their taxes, which essentially makes them spend more. I'll hire more people. I'll grow. I'll take this risk. But if you're just fucking hammering left, right, center, this, that, and then all of a sudden, you lay off people, and then they wonder why, right? Less government regulation. Like you got to stop. You got to stop penalizing the people that put their fucking balls on the line, and made something of themselves. Like, stop penalizing them, because if you don't stop that, people are not going to want to come here. You know what I mean? They're not going to want to open the business.
No, I agree with you.
Right. Like they're not going to want to take the risk.
But they're not
here.
penalizing the big developers as much as I think they should be. They're just getting them to approve a lot of projects, but they're benefiting financially. Right.
And
we need to listen. I know about the Yorkdale complex. There's 21 towers there, I think it is. And there's Sherway 21 towers there too as well. That was announced at the start of the year. But now we're at a full stop of new construction. So all those towers are on hold right now. And they're on hold until this shit gets changed. So it's gonna slow down. I think there's 2 towers right now at Yorkdale. I don't think they've broken at Sherway yet. I'm not exactly sure.
Sherway, no.
But there's another one at Cedar as well too, which is just technically down the street, like 10 or 11 towers there.
Yeah.
So, but there's a full stop right now. It's just a fact.
If I'm not mistaken, they have to sell like 50%.
Well, there's a bunch of hurdles that you got to, that's the problem is, so you got a workforce that's ready to work, but nobody can buy.
Yeah. And why can't nobody buy?
It's too
because
expensive.
the government spent too much money.
But dropping the bank rate 2 points or whatever it was, like, that's not going to convince someone to buy.
But also, how do you budget as a developer for these big projects when like the measuring stick is constantly changing by the month? You don't know what interest rate's going to be next month, like, inflation.
And I think right now
There's so
everyone
many
is just like,
variables
listen,
at you.
we've got nothing going on.
Yeah.
We have to see what happens October 25th, 2025.
Yeah. But let's think about this too. Our economy, everything, right? For this, I know they're calling it the carbon tax election, right? That they're trying to call, but our whole economy, like you said, the building, for change in this country, everything's being held up by Jagmeet Singh's pension.
Of course. That's a fact.
I know, but this to me, let's be honest, 2016, 2017, 2018, what were most Canadians talking about? Impeach Trump. Like, I can't believe it. Like, everybody was on the American politics. Like, can you believe this guy? People were arguing on both sides, right? No, Trump's good. No, impeach him. No, this. Well, look at us. No, why is nobody talking about this? This to me it should be illegal. What do you mean? You're backing somebody everybody knows it's because of your pension, right? How is this able to go on? You know, like, look at how many people are suffering.
That's a fraction of what's really going on.
No, I know it's a
right?
fraction, but I'm just saying what's out in the open.
Oh, yeah, I know.
This is the crazy part too, Manny. This is what we know. Imagine what we don't know. And this is blatant in front of you, and nobody's doing a fucking thing about it.
And also at government levels, like, I don't respect anybody that's talking about the construction industry at the government level, because they don't know the construction industry.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't know. They don't ask, and they only have friends with big developers.
It's all fluff. It's all optics.
Billionaire developers. Like, that's a different boys club, right?
Yeah.
And so but the boots on the ground is getting shit on. So
Yeah.
you guys try to survive. Like, respect to you guys for building a business and still employing as many people that you are employing, but you guys have a storm to still weather in the next future. Very, very near future, right?
Well, I guess that just reinforces what we were talking about before. It's about relationships, right?
Yeah.
Just make the right connections, work with the right people, and you'll be okay.
Attention aspiring tradespeople and entrepreneurs. Looking to break into the skilled trades or start your own home service business? Meet Trade Links Consulting, your go-to partner for success. At Trade Links Consulting, they're passionate about helping you find the right trade, build your business, and mentor the next generation. Whether you're exploring your options or ready to take the plunge, they offer tailored career consulting and startup guidance to get you on the right track. Visit them at www.tradelinkconsulting.ca today and book your personalized strategy session. Your future in the skilled trade starts here. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
And back to what we said earlier is you got to be responsible and accountable for your own self. You can't wait for a politician to come in and you know, expect things to be better. Like, you know, you got to own whatever you're doing.
But that's Canada. That's human nature, North American human nature, right?
And that's a problem.
It's a major problem.
You got to be responsible for yourself. Like I would never blame a politician or my government because of my, you know, failures or successes. Like, that's on me.
Like, you think the immigrant that came from Italy in like the 50s or 60s, right? You think he would blame it? He came, like, my father-in-law came with nothing, right? And I think there's a big difference too in the immigrants that are coming from back then till now as well. Like, these guys that came in, they came with nothing and worked their fucking asses off. And they actually built a life. They bought a house. Obviously, houses cost a lot less. You made a lot less, probably not comparable. But my point is the amount of immigrants that are coming in now, like, what was the number that since COVID, since 2020, maybe like north of 5 million?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
How many of those have actually contributed? Right?
I don't know.
I'd love to see the numbers because Trudeau, I feel, has created this kind of like free for all here. You can come on in and I've talked to people, you know, that have seen numbers and, you know, on the welfare side and the amount of money that's going to these people that are not working.
No, and it's not even,
staggering.
You don't need to see the numbers. You just need to see the streets. And you just need to see, you know, job sites, and you need to see all that shit, right? What I have okay, listen, I'm in my 50s, and I don't defend the boomers, and I don't shit on, you know, the Zers or whatever the fuck they're, millennials, right? I just, like, it's hard for me to understand how it's not an argument to say back then in the 80s a house was 200 grand on the high end,
yeah,
and you were paying 15-18% interest, but today now an average house is 1.2 on, what are we at now, right? What's today? 4%?
Yeah, 4, something like that.
Dude, I'm going back in the DeLorean to the 80s, and I'm buying that fucking house at 18%
all day.
Yeah, all day.
Even though you're making 25, maybe in construction, maybe $30,000 you're making a year, but your car was what, 25,000 for brand spanking new pleather seats. Rather have that.
Yeah.
You got idiots that are put the money down, and I got a video from 5 years ago when, you know, Musk announced the Cybertruck, and I was vocal against it, and now you got these people buying this 6-figure luxury tax piece of shit truck, and I'm like, this makes no sense. Why are you going to get into a lease option like that, or even a buy it outright completely? That makes no sense whatsoever. So the purchases don't reflect the money that they're making, but yet they're complaining about the cost of living and what rent is and what the cost of a house is, what the cost of a vehicle is. But yeah, go to your Starbucks and buy a $7 fucking latte.
That's the biggest thing.
Like, you can't continue doing that.
You got to look at yourself eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
everybody's at fault for their own, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. You can't just continue. I stopped blaming the politics because they get away with it. There's no accountability whatsoever.
Zero. Yeah.
It's really, it's disgusting. But I mean, also someone sent me today the Liberal government since 23 spent $25 million on furniture.
I like.
Now there's an inquiry coming in from Global Affairs on where did all that money where did it go?
But does that surprise
you can go down
though?
the list.
Does that surprise
It's
you though?
disgusting. In my opinion, it's disgusting because it gives me, as a Canadian citizen, the right to go to CRA and say, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not paying a dime because you guys have squandered all this printed money now.
Okay, look, there's a situation. I know this off topic from construction, but it's down this.
But it's connected to it.
It's connected, yeah. So, my youngest son, he's in daycare, and all my kids went to this daycare. So about a year and a half ago, the government came out with this like $10 a day program, right? For they subsidize the rest just to make daycare affordable, right? Because it is expensive.
What does
right?
daycare cost?
Well, before this was like probably on the low end, if you're doing a 5 day a week, it's probably like 12, 13, 1400 a month. You see what I'm saying? So, and for a low income family that's having, it's impossible. So I do agree where like certain things like that, like it helps, you know what I mean? Especially like if, a single parent has kids, has to go to work to feed, to pay the rent and now, 12, 1300, 1000 a month. It's a lot, right? So they came out with this program, but like, check this out. So they come out with this program. They have no basically guidelines to it. Okay. All they say is, it's $10 a day. We're going to start subsidizing these daycares, whoever wants in, whoever wants out. So to make a long story short, the way this program works is they want to give, and again, this is where I don't have, I know it's 24, I don't know if it's million or billion, right? But over 4 years, the government is giving 24 million or billion towards this subsidy program. So $24 million or billion for 4 years, right? That's how much to subsidize these daycares.
Okay.
But what they don't tell you is in order to run this program, so in order to give daycares over 4 years, 24 million, let's just call it, in government officials to, audit, do this, do that, run the program, it's $100 million a year. So they're going to spend $400 million over 4 years to subsidize 24 million. This is what we're dealing with.
It's a magic trick.
That's what it is, right? So people think that it's helping, but then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute.
But don't people question, okay, so it normally costs $1,200, now it's down to $10. Where did the other $1,190 come from?
Exactly.
Well, that's tax dollars.
It's like
but that's coming from printed money.
It's like the $200 billion in COVID.
So that's that makes no sense.
Yeah, look at the increase in your tax bill every year. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's why I honestly I couldn't agree more with Kosta. I think the faster you take your eyes off the government and you start concentrating on what you do on a day to day, the better off you'll be. You can't rely on politicians. Things are going to get better when he comes in or she goes out or she gets on.
No, I'm not saying it's going to get better. Right? I'm just going to say the masses are going to start to make decisions once the changing of the guard happens.
Now, what do you do if Poilievre comes in and nothing changes? You have these minor, like these fluff optic things that happen, and then what? That's what I mean. You're in the same spot that you were right now.
I was following him for a little bit. I met the guy, and ever since I followed him and I met the guy, all he did was bark. And listen, I'm an animal lover, right? I could put a person down before I could put an animal down. But if you constantly bark and you're not going to bite, you're never going to bite.
No, but that's my point. He's never bit. It's not even about Pierre, though. That's my point. And
no, he barks right now. He's just talking about it's all this. This is what he's cost. This is how much money he's been wasted. All this other. It's just barking.
Yeah.
Enough of this shit barking, man. Stop it. If he really wanted to do something, start forcing audits. Start actually releasing names. Start give us the insight to understand what's really going on. Yeah. And then start biting with accountability. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be any biting because it's all a boys' club. They all got each other's back.
If you want to make a dent, you got to do what, well, we'll see what they do about it. Elon Musk and Vivek, the whole Doge, right? Like, if they actually implement, that could be huge. I think the amount of cut in government waste, which we know is like beyond, right? The one that gets me every time is the ArriveCan app. 54 million to create that.
I
And
know,
coming
but that-
from someone in software.
But that media bite's done, dead and buried.
I know,
and
but
nobody's
I know, but you
two
can go
guys in a
down the
basement
list
and
of
shit.
all the
Yeah, I
wasted
get it.
spending.
But
So
they
it's-
continue to do it. Like this
it'll
furniture
never
thing,
stop.
I just found out today about it. Like it's a free for all.
And then
Do
it's
we
on
run
to
your
the next
businesses like that?
and then it's on to the next news cycle.
So, see, that's the biggest thing that in politics that I'd never understood, right? Countries, to me, they're the biggest corporations in the world, right? So who you're electing, you got to stop electing. Like I remember, like I love my mother, right? And Ma, if you're listening, like I'm sorry, but
I hope so.
I remember like when she voted, for Trudeau, and it's like, but Ma, why, And it's like,
What do you mean, Justin?
yeah, right. And it's like, oh, he's so cute. He looks like, and it's like, well, we're one of the biggest, let's call it corporations in the world. You're electing a CEO, right? You need somebody that's going to go in there, get you the best deal, right? Do the best for their people, the best for their company, right? And this is where people have to stop looking at it like, oh, this person's nice. No. Who is qualified for the job? That's what it is. It's the same argument towards this like DI.
Yeah, but
right?
he's got the best socks.
That's true.
I was disappointed with the last election how everybody that I knew that was under the age of 30 never voted. They just said, I don't want to vote. I don't care.
Do you know why though? I think a lot of people, they can see through the bullshit. And what is happening is whether I'm voting left, whether I'm voting right, and you talk to a lot of people feel like this now, right? Like Charlie said, it doesn't matter. It's like it's the boys club. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. You think it's easy for a person today to start a business and be an entrepreneur in Canada?
Like technically, yeah.
Today?
Why not? What do you need to
The
start a
taxes
business?
and everything, like the associate.
Okay, yeah, I thought you meant like
establishing
actually,
a business here.
technically, like just setting up a corporation.
that's easy.
Okay,
Tax wise, we're one of the worst.
I was actually going to mention that too. I think a big problem with just business owners in general, and I could speak for myself.
They don't want to be here.
You're at the point where, first of all, yeah, this country is driving out some of the best entrepreneurs. I every single day I speak to people, and this has never happened up until the last few years, where every dinner table I'm at, people are talking about like, when they're going to leave this country, right? So, but not only that, why is that? We're, as a business owner here, there's no incentive to grow your business beyond like a certain point. Like it economically makes 0 sense.
I agree.
Which is
You're always
crazy.
penalized. The better you do, you're always penalized, right?
Is that by design?
I would say so.
Right?
I would say so. You think it's easier to go after a big corporation that's very wealthy or go after small business owners regarding taxes?
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of guys I've spoken to is like, I'm screwed. I'm being audited at HST again. And I'm like, why are they? And I started thinking, why are they going after so many?
Yeah, why are they
I get it.
bothering you?
Weak. Small.
But what's the consequence of that, right?
Well, the
talking about-
consequences, you're like you said, you're driving businesses out of
It
here.
doesn't make sense.
So our like right now, they just announced our GDP just dropped again.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's going to continue to drop.
Of course.
But then what did they do? They implemented, I don't know if it is implemented, I believe it is, the exit tax. So
Yeah.
many people
I don't know if it's been approved yet.
Yeah, but like 20%, I think it is, or 50%, something like that. So, if you're a Canadian and you've had enough of this country and you're going to sell all your assets and you want out, it's like, oh, before you go.
So will there be an exit tax when Trudeau leaves? Because obviously his money's not here.
I don't know, right? And this is where
I wonder how active the younger generation really is. Like, do they start speaking on sites, or are they afraid to speak up? Because us older people, we don't give a shit, right?
yeah.
We just say it as
What are you
it
going to
is.
do? Cancel me?
I don't give a shit why you find me offensive. It does, but the young, I think they have to be a little careful what they say, especially publicly what they say, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I think not only younger people, but even older people, you're kind of, I mean, not for us, like whatever, but I just think it's just the culture that we're in.
You guys see what's going on in Argentina with Javier?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I was
turning
going
it
to say.
around.
But
That's what we need here.
Look at Doge, yeah.
But
So people
will
are.
Pierre do that?
No.
I don't
wouldn't
think
bet
so.
on it.
I don't think
I
so.
would call the Canadians, like, if you got 41 million people, I think there should be a referendum where we vote. Should there be an inquiry to every single minister? Every single
Everyone.
one.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
And those who have done wrong, out. Lifetime ban.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing there.
Yeah.
And it's thriving. It's
I know.
growing. The
I know.
country's back for the people, and businesses are growing. Money's being made.
Yeah.
And that's why it truly feels like it's just two heads off the same snake.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. So we see that happening in Argentina before the U.S. election, right? Why was there still such criticism towards, Elon and Vivek for wanting to do that in the American government?
You got a nation that's split down the middle, technically speaking.
No, you can be split down the middle, but
who's
here's something
criticizing? It's just the propaganda arms who are.
But this is what I mean, right? So you have something being done in what are they, second world? Argentina? Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
Second or third, right? But anyways, their inflation was through the roof. What was it, like
it was
300%?
crazy. It was
right?
crazy.
I remember watching a video of
we
somebody.
have nothing compared to that. Like,
Yeah.
If you put it in perspective.
Yeah. But so you got this guy that comes in.
But it's possible.
You got this guy that comes in, okay, literally cuts, I don't know how much of the government fluff, brings down the inflation to like an all-time low in, I don't know what it was, 15 or 20 years, whatever it was, and it's working. Then you have the U.S. that is in, obviously they don't have that type of inflation, but man, they're like 34 trillion in debt. At one point or another, if every year, right, again, I'm a grade 10 dropout. If last year you're at 31 trillion, this year you're at 34 trillion, and you're trending that way, guess what? You're spending more than you're making, right? Essentially. So you have to make a change. You have to make cuts, right? So why is the criticism on the cuts? Because then what's going to happen is then next year it's going to go to 37 trillion, then 41. At what point is like enough?
Three-way the world. These little puppies. I'm speaking from experience. I've actually installed these and I love these. Three-way prefabricated inside drywall corner. The first one-piece solution for perfect, crisp corners every time. With three-way, you'll improve your quality, save on labor, and cut down on time. Traditional methods require 3 tapes, lots of sanding, and high skill. But with three-way corners, they install in just a fraction of the time with fewer steps. It is adjustable for any angle, reinforced to cover gaps, and designed to blend seamlessly into the corner. Say goodbye to pesky touch-ups and hello to flawless finishes. Try three-way today and revolutionize your drywall game. Perfect corners every time. To purchase or check out some how-to videos to see the installs in action, visit threeway.ca or connect with them at 306-514-3768 or drop them an email at threewaytheworld@gmail.com. Connect with me, TCL, and stop by the studio and get a free pack on us for anyone to try. And trust me, I'm telling you, you'll love it. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. Well, the problem is that in America, and I think with Canada as well, is they're criticizing the character and not the actions.
Exactly.
Right? And we criticize the actions here, but we don't do anything about it. If we try to do a truckers convoy, we see what happened. Right?
1,000%. Yeah.
So it's like Canadians are loyal people to the nation and they'll defend it. But the thing is that when you freeze bank accounts and you start taking like liberties away, people get real scared at that point. Right. So I think we need to constantly, and that's what I was saying to Pierre, is like, enough with the barking. You should be attacking every single thing he's doing. It should be a reminder on every single day in Parliament, every time. It should just constantly be coming up to the point where he can't show his face anywhere. Right?
But they can't even talk to each other in Parliament. Like, that's another thing.
Yeah, it's all theater.
That's
so frustrating. It's one of the most frustrating.
Yeah, you ever watch that? It's like,
I want to see action. Like if everybody was on a job site and we just talked about installing plumbing,
but
I mean, like, guys, what the fuck are we gonna?
I know, but the way
we're gonna press something, let's press something.
And then that's what it is. And then they get reprimanded.
You know what I mean? I gotta flush the toilet.
Yeah, they get reprimanded for saying a bad word, and then it just becomes a whole fiasco. It's a joke.
But even the way the Parliament works, like, I've watched it a few times just to like get a laugh, and to bring it into construction. Can you imagine? You're the homeowner, I'm your plumber. This is the inspector. And I have to speak to the inspector for the inspector to speak to you, and you got to speak back, and it's just like...
Have you spoken to your mom about how there's a good threat that if we stay until October 2025, there's going to be a capital gains tax on primary residence?
Yeah, well...
That affects...
Well, my mom now has changed tunes, which, like, I'm very thankful, right? And unfortunately, they think sometimes... even if a lot of people are for Trump now, you see a lot of people coming out, but that whole argument on why, he's like the people don't get it until like it happens, right? Like they think that you're just a cheerleader, right? And I'm getting back to like, countries are big corporations. Don't hire based on what he looks like or, oh, he seems nice, or you got to hire who's best for the job, right? And again, I'm going to bring it back to that DEI, right? You can't get a pilot, just because they fall in this category, right? Like you got to get the best pilot for the job, right? You got to get the best CEO for the job, regardless of how they are or how they come across. Are they the most qualified? Are they the best to do that job? That's what we got to be looking at. Right? Are you going to hire a plumber just because he seemed friendly, even though he burned down your neighbor's house, but he seems like a nice guy, right? Like, let's give him a shot.
Yeah,
You'll never.
We've given them 1 day shot, and then if it didn't work out, they don't come back the next day. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I was never for or against any political person. I'm for action. If I don't see action, then I'm not interested in it at all. That's why I'm reserving my opinion about Pierre and what he does, because my concern is that he will continue barking and not bite. And I'm like, enough with this shit. Bite.
And we need a change. We need a change, especially.
He's not an equivalent to Trump, right? And I honestly think that we need more small business support
1,000%.
in this country. This country was built by every person that came in here in the 60s and 70s and onward. And I'm not like, I don't have a problem so much with the immigrants that are coming in right now. If they're setting up businesses, I've had a few of them on the show, and they've set up really good businesses, and they cater to their people. And I'm like, it's no different than back in the 70s and 80s when my dad came in, Portuguese. It was on all Portuguese brick crew.
Yeah.
They only hired Portuguese. I'm not faulting the immigrants of today, but if they're coming in, but my dad didn't live off we didn't have subsidized, rental income, food, a per diem, clothing, all this shit. None of that shit was offered then. That's what I'm against, because that's taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. That just puts a burden on the existing people that are already here.
Yeah, or those things get implemented, and don't get me wrong, like I'm all for helping people, but you add programs, right? When you're in a positive, think about running a business, right? You buy another truck, or you add another fleet, or you hire more guys, like you buy more material, you reno your office when you're in a surplus. Not when you're constantly in debt, right? Like, can you imagine? Like,
that was the biggest mistake that all the young business owners, trades, they started buying, man. They started buying vehicles at 10%. They just started getting, their office space, their workshop space, at just stupid leases that they were signing off. And I was telling everybody, don't do any of this shit. Go buy a used truck. Go buy a used van. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be better in the end. And then they get stuck in a 5-year lease. And then they can't carry that cost, right? Because 10% on a lease, Jesus, man.
Yeah,
yeah. And you already see, at the time I had Mercedes that are reaching out to me. Hey, we got a new van. You want a new van? It's 9-point-something%, whatever. And I was like, you guys are out to lunch at $90,000. What's wrong with you guys, man?
Crazy. Yeah.
Go talk to a 20-something-year-old. He might be interested, right? And that's unfortunate. They were. So it just, now they're in scary situations, right? So
Another scary one that they float around is this wealth tax.
yeah.
That would be disastrous for.
I think Canada should be a zero income tax nation. Every single province and territory.
Yeah.
100%.
See, I would start digging in Alberta. Everybody who's listening to the show knows that the green bullshit is not on my fucking radar, right? So it doesn't, I'm not an EV guy. I want a full carbon footprint on every sticker plate. I want to know exactly what this carbon footprint of this EV cost, right? And I want to start digging in this nation, because we could be providing all kinds of natural resources to other nations around the world.
Yeah.
To be competitive to the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? But we're not doing that. We have enough to do right here in our own backyard to be very thriving, man.
We have potential to be a global superpower.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the natural resources.
No,
we have.
instead, we want to shut down everything for fucking Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you just have incompetence behind the scenes running everything, which is such a shame.
You know what I say? Manny for Prime Minister.
No. I don't need my car to blow up. I don't need to look over my shoulder. Like, I haven't joked. I've said it on the show. Like, Trump's going to be careful. I mean, 3 times already, right?
Yeah.
RFK, too.
I know.
Musk.
These guys got to watch.
But Musk is an important figure because he has SpaceX, right? That's what we know of.
Well, look at one I read this morning, and again, I think it was from like Apple News or whatever, but now they're criticizing because a lot of the fund, like they don't want to fund NASA as much, like moving forward. They want to.
Who doesn't? Apple doesn't want to?
No, like the U.S. government. So they're going to give more funding to the private sector, which essentially is like SpaceX. So they're saying, oh, that's why Elon Musk went there. And it's like, man, SpaceX came in. They basically blew NASA out of the water in how long? 10 years?
Well, he proved that he could do what they were doing for a fraction of what they were spending. Exactly. That's just what we need to do.
That's exactly
same thing here in Canada.
Yeah,
we should be building business. Yeah, let the private kids that are not even born right now to come up with the new ideas of tomorrow.
Yes,
but we're not giving them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah,
we're telling everybody get the hell out of this country, basically.
Yeah,
or just get in line and stay in this country. We're not people who stand in queues. You know what I mean?
But we're too nice enough where everybody just keeps quiet.
It'll be interesting if Pierre gets in, because he is going to get in. That's just how it's going to happen. And he doesn't do anything. And I want to see what Canadians are going to do as a result of that. Right? It'll be interesting to see that. Because if he doesn't do anything.
Do you think out of anybody on the card, like, and I'm not just talking like conservative, like any other politician, do you think we have a Trump?
No.
You don't think anyone exists? I think so.
I think we have a lot of Trumps in construction.
Yeah, no, but you don't think we have one?
Who would you say?
What's his name? Maxime Bernier.
Maxime Bernier, yes.
That name's been brought up already a couple of times. I get it. I don't know. I don't know enough to say yes or no. I don't know.
Yeah, he's pretty much.
We still have to kneel to the USA.
Yeah.
When I don't think this nation needs to kneel to the USA. I think we need to work together.
Yeah, we need to collaborate.
We have the biggest lumber industry, like most trees. But yet all of it goes south or China.
Yeah. Or our oil. We pull the oil, we send it to the United States to refine, and then they send it back to us at a premium. It's like...
it's a great deal that somebody did, but it wasn't us.
That's what I mean, right?
So I don't know. Like, I think we have to wait till January. So it's like there's a calendar now. You got Trump going in January 6th, or when is it the inauguration?
20th, 6th, maybe.
I can't remember.
One of those. Yeah.
January, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Singh getting his $2 million pension in February, right? And then you got March, and then spring. It starts to get a little bit warmer. It's going to be a fall election. I'd be surprised if it's sooner. And we just have to weather the storm.
I know, but do you think like the Canadian economy could weather the storm until then?
I think like you said earlier, they're just gonna, just tiny bit. They're just gonna fuck with us a tiny bit.
It's smoke and mirrors too, right? The prints they give are like, we're back at 2% inflation. I'll tell you there's not 2% inflation.
Bullshit.
Go to the grocery store and
lie.
tell me 2%.
That's a lie.
Like whoever believes that, like it's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so you can mask it, you can hide it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening.
Are you ready to take your construction business to the next level? Consider joining the Construction Life's Tradespeople Alliance program, TAP, where skilled professionals connect, collaborate, and grow together. Our network is built on mutual respect and the shared goal of always building better. As a member, you'll have access to a wealth of resources designed to streamline your operations and attract more clients. From a 30-minute assessment call with myself to expert consultations in business, finance, and health, we've got you covered. Your business information will be featured at www.theconstructionlife.com, complete with certifications, logos, and geo-targeting to help you reach the right audience. Promote your business with a 30-second advert across TCL's social channels and our popular podcasts. Get exclusive access to TCL networking events and roundtable shows where you can connect with other tradespeople and general contractors, plus enjoy TCL merchandise, member-exclusive content, and a spot in the TAP directory online. We're going to promote you guys to homeowners across Facebook groups. Don't miss out on this opportunity to elevate your business. Become a member of the Construction Life's Tradespeople Alliance program today and start reaping the benefits. Visit us at www.theconstructionlife.com for more details, or DM us through any of the social platforms, or text me directly at 416-433-5737 to learn more, and consider being a TAP member today. Any other thoughts you guys want to share before we get to the 12 questions of construction? I was leaving Mike here and I was like, oh fuck. Wait, no, I like spirited conversation. Actually, I was bumping into an HVAC guy recently, and I hadn't seen him in a few months, and he came up to me. He goes, "Manny, I like all the political shit you're bringing up on this show, right?" And then he's like, "We were to get about getting canceled," and I was like, "No, I don't know. Should I? Gives a fuck, right? I don't care."
No,
What,
you're
what
good,
do they
man.
say?
You're good.
Any publicity is good publicity?
No, I don't know. Well, he tries to shut down a bunch of shit, right? So it's like we can't look at Facebook news or.
But that's such a problem. Like, how do you have to, like, if you have something to say, say it. Like, why is that such a concern?
But think about that. You want to restrict and censor, but then you as a lying force want to share your lies,
Yeah.
but now you can't do it because you restricted it.
The foundations of
Think about the thought process
the
there.
foundation of a democracy is the ability to speak your mind. If you disagree with someone, we're able to sit in a room and say what you have to say, even if it offends you. Doesn't matter. Without that, you're no longer a democracy. Right?
I remember being in school, like elementary and high school, like you always had your friends and you're always, like you come up with crazy ideas. Just that you're always thinking about ideas, about here's a cool business idea, here's another cool business idea. I wonder if that's going on in today's schools. Like I know kids, like parents of kids telling me how they're taking all the white photos from yesteryear of classroom pictures or schooling events or like sporting events, because they're the minority, so to speak, are being offended by all the white photos. That's fucking history. Shut the fuck up. Leave it there. You don't remove that shit. It's just that doesn't make any sense to me.
Crazy.
So I don't see kids being in their classrooms antsy, thinking about, I got this fucking idea. Let me write this.
I can see a lot happening on like the online world with like software,
Yes.
AI and
Yeah,
stuff.
but not in the
There's a lot
classroom.
happening.
Not in the classroom.
Yeah, what's being taught in the classroom?
Things that I don't agree with, and it's a good thing I'm not a parent, right? So, and now it's just becoming jokes. So
That's why my kids don't go into the public school system.
I feel for parents, man. I just don't, because the kids are just completely, they're confused.
It's tough. You can't even, you know, you said you're Portuguese. I'm half Portuguese. Certain, I want to say, you know, just upbringing that you were brought up with. If you have kids, if you know, kind of like pass it down, it's frowned upon. Like certain things they can't even say in school, and it's like, what are you talking about?
At the end of the day, as a parent, you have to have the confidence that you're going to instill the right things in your kids.
sure.
You can't. They're going to see the bullshit on TV. They're going to hear all the crap at school. You can't avoid it. But when they come home, it's important that you deprogram that, you know, and instill the right things inside them, and they'll be okay.
Hopefully it starts to turn.
I hope so.
Hopefully. www.jobtable.com, info@jobtable.com, info@iPLUMBGTA.com, www.iPLUMBGTA.com, and 416-856-6198. How many employees did you guys say you guys had? 20?
It's north of 30.
Still doing high rise? It's mostly high rise?
Mid-rise,
Mid-rise, commercial, industrial.
Where's the mid rise stop? What floor?
like 12.
Yeah.
12 is mid rise? Anything above 12 is high rise?
Yeah, it starts to get into high rise. Nobody really built 13, 14. They'll do boutiques. Like 14 will still be considered mid-rise, but after 14 they start going, 20, and that's when it starts to become high rise.
We're very unique though, iPLUMB. We're actually one of the few, a lot of the people we hire too are always kind of blown away at like, we do everything. We work in every single college and university. We work in hospitals. We do mid-rise. So we do new construction, old construction. We've worked in
Service.
the Rogers Center.
Do you guys have to wear like scrubs when you guys are working at hospitals?
In hospitals? No.
Well, it depends.
It depends what area you're working in.
Yeah, if it's a clean room,
You
then,
have to.
Yeah, but
Totally
like,
have to.
yeah, you have to go through a shower and the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that when I worked at Ainsworth and some of the jobs we've done, like, yeah, if you're going in any of those areas.
So how does that work though? I'm just curious about the tools. Like, do you put the tools around the scrubs or do you put the tools underneath the scrubs?
No,
Or you got to sanitize the tools? Or do you just use the doctor's tools because he's got the shiny tools?
Actually, you know what? You bring up a fucking good point. No, hold on. No, you just brought up something that I had never thought of. So, I did a lot of work in the hospitals, and to get into some of these clean rooms, sterile rooms, operating rooms, like the procedures behind it, just dust control
Yeah.
and
HEPA to the 10th degree or something.
and like what you're wearing, like this, like full hazmat suits. So it's like, you got to go through all that. You got to go into the shower or whatever. And it's like, okay, but what about my wrench that like I just unclogged, like,
Don't worry, Milwaukee's going to design a clean pack out system, right?
You bring up a good point, right? Like look, you can't bring you can't bring the job box in, but it's not like they don't ask us to put like our tools into like ultrasonic cleaners or anything like that. Right? So it's like, fuck, like, yeah, that's actually a good point, right? It's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me somebody's
got to service these? They got to service these rooms, and they got to go through these bells and whistles, right?
Yeah. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Funny, right?
Yeah. But it's the reason I brought that up, that we kind of like do everything, is because ever since we started the company, we have this like sickness that we can't turn down work. We've never been able to turn down work. And I think that's why we've always been busy for 15 years. And we've never really had a
It's always been word of mouth?
Always, man.
Yeah? Like, you guys aren't doing sales or just calling people?
Started, we actually took out a $10,000 line of credit each 15 years ago.
Okay.
And with that 50, I think we spent $6,000 on a used truck. We spent about $4,000 on snakes, tools. I think we did maybe $4 or $5 grand in advertising, and then $5,000 was in the bank to hopefully build on.
That's smart.
And that was it. That's the only money we've ever borrowed, and we paid it back very quickly. And I think after that $5 grand, we never advertised again.
I feel for the trades, because it's if Trump does do the tariffs, it's gonna fuck every single trade. We get a lot of product from the States.
Yeah.
Your price is gonna go up.
Our price is gonna go up. Our price for raw material is going to go up.
Yeah.
Our pricing is going to go up. And this is what people don't understand. The only people that feel it in the end is the end user.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So,
but it's going to be a deciding factor for them whether they do the job or not, or they hold off until the next year.
Well, that's exactly what we've been seeing this year. The same thing, right? People don't want to spend the money. So there's going to be slowdowns, and that's why
back to just build it here in Canada.
That's why I actually I saw, I believe it was Kevin O'Leary. He was on Fox. I don't know if it was yesterday morning or this morning. And he was basically saying that, same thing, that, Poilievre is going to be our next PM, he believes. And he goes, with this Trump tariff that might be coming, it'd be smart for Poilievre to basically pick up the phone and say, let's talk now. You know what I mean? Let's figure this out now, right? And that's always, I think, the best way. I know people talk, politics, but it's the best way to do business, right? Like, let's figure this out before we get there. You know what I mean? Because if we got now we're trying to pivot on a dime. You know what I mean? Instead of like, well, let's talk. Like you're only getting into the office in January, so if you know that I'm next to come in, then let's start negotiations.
It's still not 100% guaranteed, though, right? Because we used Chinese machines to vote last time. We're going to be using Chinese machines to vote this time.
That's true. Well, I say, man,
you never know.
You never know.
I'm surprised RCMP hasn't knocked on the door yet. Right? If they do knock over here, I was like, I gotta see. I got a few questions. I go, can you show me the documents with the list? I want to see all the MPs that are on that list.
There's a microphone right here.
Let's go back to the construction talk.
What's your favorite construction word or phrase? So just go, Johnny, this way, one at a time.
What's my
favorite construction word or phrase?
Go fuck yourself.
Get her done.
Fuck. I'm not in construction. Do I have to do this?
Of course you do.
What's my favorite? I'll be there at 8.
No, my favorite is my wife's favorite too. Is she couldn't believe this is actually used as a cunt hair, as a measuring stick. I
had a kid teach me depend on the race, and I was like, dude, you just made me think now, man. It's true. Some are coarser than others. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
About to go fuck yourself. There was a lawyer that fucked with me, and I was knowledgeable enough to play games, and so when I finally conceded and had to pay a certain amount, I demanded that I got paid in installments over 6 months and just annoyed the fuck out of him, right? So on every single check, so the first one went out, I wrote GFY. right, in the memo line. And then he fucking emails me, he makes another thread. Do you want me to show the judge, the court, this check? And I was going, go ahead, you fucknut. I don't give a shit. And every single other 5 checks, GFY, over and over, GFY. Go fuck yourself.
Are you the guy that pays a speeding fine with pennies at the DMV?
No, I haven't paid a speeding fine since my 20s. I fight them.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to know how to fight them, right? So I even fight using a mobile device while I was driving.
Really, eh?
I won that one. And the cop shook my hand on that one, too.
Wow.
He knew that I did it, but I was like, dude, I just got acquitted of that. So I don't know what you're talking about.
TCL podcast, note to self, call Manny for any speeding
Well, I can share some insight on what to do.
Any speeding infringements, you call Manny.
Don't speed. That's all I'm saying. What's your least favorite tool? Doesn't have to be construction. It could be any. Like I've had people say Trudeau.
Drywall saw, by far. Drywall saw.
Drywall saw?
Yeah.
You mean a keyhole saw or
Just a drywall saw. Manual saw.
Yeah.
Drywall.
Keyhole saw.
What's my least favorite tool? Anything that's made by JobMate.
Oh fuck! This is auto.
You're not sponsored by them, are you?
It's true. They only last once or twice, maybe if you get that.
A Windows computer.
Everyone's been saying that lately. Huh?
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Is it just because it's a Bill Gates thing, man?
No, I don't know. I just like.
He's got nothing to do
Apple.
with it anymore, does he? He's got nothing to do.
I
with
don't think so. No.
No. What do you guys miss from your childhood?
That's a good question. Wow. You know what I miss? I grew up downtown, and I miss the freedom. Downtown was my backyard at a very young age.
Listen, man, I'm 53 and I walk around downtown, and even in New York and Chicago, I never have to look over my shoulder. But when I walk around downtown Toronto, I look over my shoulder.
It's unrecognizable now, but it was.
I'm unsettled there, man.
Yeah, it wasn't like that
sure.
before. It was rough. Don't get me wrong.
I had no problem walking around Moss Park or like I have no fucking problem. But nowadays, I have a problem.
Yeah.
I have a problem.
Yeah, it's
That's the
different.
first thing that came
True.
to my mind too. Just being outside all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I was something funny I heard the other day is like some Instagram account, and it's this guy that's like 40, 50 years old, and these kids ask him questions, and one kid goes, "Why the fuck did you guys used to drink out of the hose? Like you guys didn't have, and you guys couldn't go inside the house, like go to the fridge, the tap." He goes, "We weren't allowed inside our fucking house."
And our water was cleaner then.
Yeah.
What's yours, Johnny?
Mine would be, what do I miss from my childhood? Probably like having no responsibility.
What construction sound do you guys love?
I'll start it off. Chip and gun.
Chipping gun, eh?
Yeah.
That's Milwaukee too?
No.
Makita or Bosch?
No.
DeWalt?
No.
Which one?
What's the ultimate? What?
Hilti.
Come on.
Oh shit! I forget. You guys are mid-rise.
That's
So you guys are all Hilti,
Commercial.
not
That's number
commercial.
one, yeah.
Oh, that's why.
number one most reliable.
Fucking expensive and only a
Yeah,
few
it is.
locations to go get them serviced at.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But still the best.
I agree. They're good tools.
Yeah.
They're good brand. I agree.
What's my
Mine is a Slack notification of a new Jobtable client signing up.
I love this tool dynamic. this
What's my favorite sound in construction? Fuck. I don't know. The Portuguese bricklayers yelling at each other.
Actually, does that still go on?
Oh, fuck.
Still goes on?
Actually, you know what?
In Portuguese or broken Portuguese?
Listen. I have a story for you. So we're on this is when I was an apprentice. We're on a site, and I was working with this Italian guy, and we were doing bathtubs, right? So for anybody that does housing, they understand when you're doing bathtubs, sometimes the bricklayers are outside doing the bricks. And the guy I was working with, he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I think they're going to fight outside." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're fucking yelling at each other. You know, these Portuguese guys." Right? And I was like, "Really?" So I like go outside, and you hear them going, right? And man, you're Portuguese. You understand. And I looked at him. I was like, "Buddy, they're literally like, they're about to
figuring
go
out lunch."
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? They're wondering who's going to host dinner tonight.
It's true. Favorite beverage?
Beverage. Whew, that's a tough one. A nice glass of wine.
Red or white?
Red.
Red.
red wine. Same.
Yeah, red wine or cognac. Yeah.
Wines across the board.
What turns you on and what turns you off in construction?
Intelligence turns me on. And there's a big lack of it these days. It's one of the most frustrating things. I feel like we do it all. We're the engineers, we're the architects, we're the problem solvers. We fucking do it all. And
they're not putting all the information on the drawings and shit. They're not doing everything.
The bare minimum. They don't even go to site. They do everything off as-built, unless it's a brand new building. But bare minimum is done, and I feel like we're left picking up all the pieces. So intelligence turns me on. I get excited when I actually meet somebody that cares about what they do and they take it seriously.
They want to discuss it.
And they want to, and they know what they're doing. It's right.
What turns you off?
What turns me off? Lack of motivation in workers. Just bad time management, just jobs not getting done in a timely manner turns me off.
What turns me on is purchase orders.
POs.
Yeah. And what turns me off?
Better than a parole officer.
And what turns me off, I would say, is a simple question in an email that you have 27 people CC'd.
I've shared a CC story. I'll tell you guys later about it. Had something to do with snow and pussy.
What turns me on is actually today I got an email from a client saying they're saving around 5 to 6 hours a week using Jobtable. So I love that.
Yeah, that's a good
And what turns me off is just lack of communication in this industry.
Just dismissed.
Yeah, so hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow morning, and they come in the afternoon or don't come at all.
And he's talking about the construction industry.
Yeah,
Not the software.
I believe it. I believe it. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Yeah. The classic fuck.
Fuck.
You just said it.
Favorite vehicle? Any mode of transportation?
I'm not a car guy.
Look, my favorite car that I've ever had is the one I have now. It's a Volvo. XC90.
Things that have never been said on the construction line.
That's it. That's my favorite.
What year
car.
Volvo? What model?
Can we
brand
edit
new.
this out, please?
Brand new?
Yeah.
Are they
love
made?
it.
They're all made in Mexico now, right?
Honestly, I'm
They're
not
not
sure.
made overseas now.
No, I don't even
I don't know.
know.
I last checked, but
Could be. I don't know. But yeah, it's
I didn't mind the
amazing.
boxiness, but you'd never get
my
laid,
favorite
right? That's the
car.
problem with those things.
Look, married, 3 kids, does the job.
I drive a Rams, and I can't stand it. I'm going to try the Tundra next, so maybe next time I come
Tundras
back
are
on.
fucking getting stupid expensive. A
They
brand
are.
new Tundra, man.
They are. Yeah, they're all
They're
expensive.
nice and everything, but it's just stupid expensive.
My truck,
And it's a V6.
truck I bought in 2017 was 52 grand, brand new out the door. That same truck is $94,000 now.
I can't. I don't.
Yeah.
Forget it. You could have got a Testarossa back in the 80s for far less than that, man.
I know. My favorite vehicle?
Any mode of transportation.
Well, if we're talking favorite vehicle, it's got to be probably like a Porsche GT3.
You plumbers, man. Every plumber I meet, they're always bringing up Porsche, man. Seriously.
But honestly, for engineering to engineering, that
I'm not complaining. It's a nice car.
Oh, beautiful.
The Germans know how to do things or two about
Yeah,
cars,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Comedy, that's a different question, though, right?
Yeah,
They're not big on comedy.
No.
What profession other than your own would you guys like to attempt one day?
Yeah, soccer player.
Software developer.
So his job, no, sort of.
You could do that.
Yeah. You want to come in?
I want to say something that was realistic that I could actually possibly do.
What was the question?
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
Would I like to attempt one day? CEO of any big company.
Of Canada?
Sure.
Politician?
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't want to be a politician.
Me and you,
man.
man. We're going to do it.
I can't sell out, man.
We're not going to sell out.
I can't
We're
sell
gonna
out.
be the new age.
They'll just be
man.
like, here's a check. Here's
No,
the,
we're
like,
gonna-
we
we're
want
gonna be the
you want
new
another
one.
zero?
We're going to be a new.
What profession would you guys not like to do?
Plumber.
Plumber.
Roofing.
Roofing. Roofing's hard.
Yeah.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you guys like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
Welcome home.
Yeah, that's a good one, Charlie. That's a tough question.
That is a tough one. You stopped me there.
Yeah, Manny, I like these, man.
I don't know.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you want him to say? You're in the wrong place.
What else do you expect?
Yeah.
Welcome home. I can't
Yeah,
think of
welcome.
anything.
Maybe there's some plumbing to do up there. I don't know.
No. Sorry, man. That was my past life.
I'm an electrician now. Nothing? No?
No, I'll steal Charlie's. Welcome home.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything.
good.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate, man, making
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thank you. It
And
was fun.
chatting.
Thanks
and
for
I'm
having
sure we'll
us.
see you guys back on the show soon enough, and we'll talk more biz, man.
Yeah, 100%.
And if anybody got offended, I don't give a fuck. Simple as that,
Neither,
right?
man.
So
This was a lot of fun, man.
thanks, man. I appreciate it,
Thank you
man.
for having us.
Definitely check them out. And are you guys hiring? You guys always looking or
We're
no?
always hiring.
Always looking.
Always.
So
looking.
reach out to them, man. Info at iPLUMBGTA.com. www.iPLUMBGTA.com and 416-856-6198. Actually, recently, yeah, there was a kid and then I sent him to a few guys that I knew right off the table, right? Just to go out there. One worked out, one didn't work out.
Let us know, man.
That's it.
You
And
have
then-
friends for life here now, man.
Jobtable, www.jobtable.com and info@jobtable.com. Guys, thank you. Absolutely. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That's it. We're out of here.